Hi, my name's Yasmin and I'm the DM.
Hi, my name is Samantha. I play Elora Greyvale and she is a sorceress from the province of Nephalia.
Hi, I'm Ryan. I play Ogvar Shawfort, the goat-herding, mushroom-seeking ranger from Kessig.
Hi, I'm Rick, and I play Otto, a spring sage from Hanweir sworn to the land, wandering the plain and setting wrongs to right with his ursine companion, Bojo.
As Otto retraced his steps, he used his wood-shaping magics to securely wedge the door in place. An acrimonious oratory exchange between a bluffing Otto and the brigands behind the door went down before he rejoined his friends in the fortress for a well-earned restorative rest. While the druid took his downtime as a dog, he quickly found canine comfort on the wizard's waterbed. Elora had enveloped herself in a cosy magical bedroll. Ogvar and Kaif, on the other hand, crashed downstairs and punished the percolator. With slumbering bathing and copious cups of coffee having been consumed, it was time for the tired team to swap shifts. Episode 180, The Fog of Dawn.
Okay, sweet. So you've just had so the two of you have been awake for 8 hours now, while Ogvar and Kaif have been getting some rest. Ogvar dosed up with coffee, had the coffee jitters, and was not functioning at in optimal form, shall we say.
I know that feeling.
Yeah, he was on a high.
Yeah. Okay, so you have a couple of discussions, you have some coffee yourself, you spend 8 hours resting, just kind of doing generic things, not really anything of much importance. And by the time that kind of 8 hours is up and finished, Ogvar and Kaif are awake. They join you down in the kitchen. Ogvar stays away from the coffee this time. And all eyes turn to the pair of you, looking for direction on what you would like to do.
Well, my thought is that we don't mess around too much. The longer we wait, the longer the folks back in the village get affected by whatever that dome's doing. And personally, I'd like our friends to know we're still alive. So I reckon we get stuck in and go and see who they might have kidnapped upstairs.
Well, I would imagine that they're worrying about us by now. I mean, whether they've stayed on the ship, I mean, they probably have, but I wonder if they can... It's an hour out, they probably can't see the dome.
Well, even if they've come
but
closer...
Yeah, they're probably really worried that we haven't been in touch.
No. Well, there's not a lot we can do. It's best only to worry about the things that you can do something about. Just we crack on.
She's wondering to herself whether Rowan would have gone back to the ship. She kind of feels that if she tries to make an empathic link with him now, she's too far underground for it to make a clear connection, so she's not going to try.
You know that you wouldn't be able to because Rowan was on the outside of the dome and you couldn't get any feelings from him anyway, so...
Yeah, that's what she assumed anyway, that he was on the outside because she couldn't get anything back, and yeah, that's fine.
I do have a couple of spells I want to cast.
Yeah.
I want to cast Snowshoes to improve my movement, and
Sweet.
Greater Magic Fang to make sure I hit things harder and better. But that's it for now, I think.
Nice.
Yeah, and I think Elora would also cast some spells. I think she would definitely bearing in mind that she was so damaged the day before, that she took so much damage, she would cast Mage Armor Greater on herself, but she would also extend that and cast it on Ogvar. I think she would probably cast it on all three of them. Yeah, I think she would cast it on Otto, Ogvar, and herself. I don't think she'd bother with Cave.
Thank you, Laura.
Okay. You dose some people up with some magic.
Yeah, I think she would.
The room is filled with various glittery magic effects as you begin casting all sorts of spells on yourselves. Okay. So what is your plan going forwards? What is your next step? You're all in the tower at the moment. You're all safe behind these thick adamantine walls. But obviously you've got to come out at some point to continue on with your journey.
Cave is the issue. I'd like to think we can trust him, but if we do trust him and it goes wrong, then we obviously have a very big problem. I would suggest that, although he's not going to really appreciate it, that we keep him on a tight leash, should we say? If we are
What do you want to do
us,
with him?
Well, a bit of rope.
Do you want to leave him here?
Well, if we tie him up tight enough. The only other option really is to trust him properly, I think. But yeah, well, he's got a flail outside. Let him pick that up and come with us and deal with him in a more permanent manner if he betrays us.
Is she going to turn to face Cave?
Okay.
Okay. Which side of the fence are you on? You can be tied up here, or you fight with us.
If
Where do your allegiances now lie?
well, certainly not with them. If you think that I could be of use to you, then I will gladly come.
Well, you could certainly be of use to us, but I will tell you now, one false move from you and I will end you.
I wouldn't expect anything less.
And that's good, because you won't get anything less. She's just going to look at Ogvar. Ogvar's just going to shrug his shoulders, I think. Not going to say anything.
Well, that sounds like Ogvar. Shall we? So, Cave, what does Cave think? Does Cave want his flail? Does he feel that he's going to be of use?
I mean, he seems perfectly willing to go along with you if you think that he can be of use. He's, just kind of willing to follow you in whatever you'd want. If you want him to stay here, he'll stay here. He's quite willing for you to just kind of tie him up and leave him outside if you want to do that. He's just more than content to be away from, finding his way out of the cult, basically. But yeah, I mean, as mechanically as an NPC, Cave is willing to do whatever you want to do. So if that diplomacy check you made was good enough that if you want to say, like, come along, come and fight with us, he'll come and fight with you. If you say to him, you know what, just stay in here, but don't touch anything, he'll stay in there. And if you want to say to him, look, we're just going to tie you up and leave you in the middle of the room, he's not going to try and break out. He's just going to wait there.
Well, given that we've proven that he can take a hit, maybe we take him with us and give it a go. What's the worst that could happen?
I think Alora's expression, she would just give a deadpan expression and just give Otto a wide-eyed but blank look.
No Dr. Pepper references? Oh dear.
Ogvar?
Yes, hello.
What say you on this?
Well, I'm happy to go with whatever you go with, Elora, Otto.
Well, my vote is we're taking with us. Give him the flail.
I'll second that. If you want your freedom, Cave, you're going to need to fight with it alongside us.
Okay.
That's how this is going to go down.
Gladly.
Okay. Fine.
Do we close down the tower and
Laura,
take it with us? Or do we leave it as a base?
Well, nobody can get into it, so maybe we leave it and collect it on the way out.
Yeah, okay, that kind of works, I guess. We have
It's
a rendezvous
it's a bolt
point.
hole if we... Yeah, it's a bolt hole if we have to run. It's already up.
Okay, yeah, this works. Alright then. We'll start gathering our kit. Maybe just travel a little bit on the light side so bedrolls and things like that get left behind. And get ready to go crack some skulls, I guess.
Okay.
Right. So, I think Alora would open the door, leave the tower. She'd just call over her shoulder lightly. Last one out, shut the door.
That'll be me.
Okay.
Right.
So you all exit the tower. You're back in this big cave. Kind of 17 hours later from the point you went in, so you do get the feeling that it's a bit colder in here. It is a bit darker, a bit danker. It certainly feels, though you can't see any difference in light, it certainly feels more like nighttime. You can hear the vague chittering of bats above you as they seem to stir.
Okay.
Okay, well. If you're ready then, Laura, Ogvar, Kaif. I presume his weapons are on the floor still, they haven't been moved?
Yeah, he'll pick up his... Yeah, they're still on the floor. He'll pick up his weapons, rearm himself, and make sure he's ready.
Out of interest, what armour is he wearing? Don't ask that.
He's got on some, like leathers.
Okay. Alright then, well, Kaif, I'm not wanting you to go in the front, I don't want you to run into any traps, but we're probably better equipped to deal with those than you are, but if we do encounter someone you've not let us know in advance, there may be some explaining to do, okay?
Okay. Yes, okay.
Awesome. Ogvar, can I recommend you take up the back?
What was that, sorry, Rick?
Don't worry, I was just saying, just recommending that Ogvar takes up the rear, because obviously with his bow, he can shoot over past us and keep an eye on Kaif as well.
Yeah, sure. He'll take up the position in the back.
Yeah, I think Laura would drop in behind Otto, but in front of Cave. And on her way, as she stepped out of the tower, she would have packed up. Ogvar's percolator, or he would have packed up he would have packed up his percolator and taken that with him. He wouldn't leave that behind. It goes everywhere with him.
Okay.
All
So
right.
you begin to make your way. Where are you going?
Okay, so from memory, it was just around the corner to the door. Just gonna quietly move in that direction. I'm still gonna remain in my human form at the moment, so there may be the occasional bit of cracking from joints, and see if the door has been moved at all, if they've broken through, or if we can see any signs that they've attempted to break through.
Okay, so make me a move silently check, please.
Ah yes, my very best thing. If you can't pick up on the sarcasm, there is an issue. Well, the dice is still doing dice. I've got to say, I love this dice. This lovely set of metal dice my mum bought for me a couple of years ago. Second only to the blue set that you made for me. So that is
Awesome.
16 plus 1 for 17.
Fair.
17. Nice. That is good. Pretty good. You're very quiet as you make your way through the tunnel. The rest of your group following a little distance behind. They're not right on your tail. They're a little distance behind as you almost scout ahead. And as you round the corner and you look at the door, could you please make me a spot check, please?
Okay, that one I can do. Of course, now I said that, I'm going to roll a 1. Let's see. No, no. Apparently the dice is still on my side. That's a 20. That's 38.
38.
Is that a natural 20?
I can't believe. Yeah, the dice were rolling so well. I'm due a string of really bad rolls soon. But that's not 20.
Oh, no. No.
Okay. Sweet. Okay, so as you make your way to the door, or certainly around the corner and you spot the door, it's gloomy, it's dark, the lights, which are looking like they're about to burn out almost entirely, they're running very low, these oil lamps along the walls. You imagine that probably they would have been topped up by the cultist guards in the room beyond, and clearly because they've been shut out of this area for the past 16 hours, the oil lamps are now beginning to excuse me.
Bless you.
No, it's alright, just coughing, just choking on air, it's fine.
Okay.
The oil
Nothing
lamps
about
are
that.
clearly beginning to burn low.
Yeah.
But even with this relative gloom, you're able to catch sight of this door, which you had chopped up with a couple of pieces of wood. And as you get a little bit closer, you realise that yes, there has been an attempt to escape by these guards who were clearly in the room beyond. And in the attempt to escape, they've clearly thrown their bodies or something at the door to try and force it open. And in the process, you can see that the little chock of wood that you put at the top and the bottom of the door, this kind of very wedge-shaped, classic doorstop shape, it has been forced, as the door's being attempted to be pushed out, it is being forced and the door is clearly wedged. There is a slight crack in the door. And the wood, the metal that this door is made of is clearly actually kind of almost buckled with the force, and it looks like it's solidly stuck now.
Nice.
Oh, well. Guess they didn't manage to make it out then.
Well, you must have done a really good job of wedging that. Well done.
Well, I think they've done a better job than me at this point. May need to break it down to get through. I'd rather do it quietly if we can.
What about... Cave said that there was just 2 more of them in there.
Yeah.
Because we fried one. He's with us. He said there was 2 more in there.
Yeah.
Assuming that nobody's come down from the upper floors that he was talking about. What if we could... If they're still in there, can we... If they're still in there, maybe we can, perhaps we can make some noise, beckon them to the door. I might be able to do something. Obviously, because there's a wedge under the bottom of the door, there must be a slight crack, like a centimetre or 2 under the door, for the wedge to go under.
Yeah, the side of the door is actually cracked open by about 1 inch.
Right. Well... I can cast some water through there. If you can get them in behind the door, I can cast some water in, and that's not the only thing that I can cast.
I mean, we can, otherwise I can just wood shape the wedges out of this position if I need to. That's another option.
Would you rather have the door barrier between us and I try and, let's just say, incapacitate them from this side of the door, or would you rather go through and take them on face to face?
No, that's fair. If you've got spells that will save us the need for a fight, let's do that.
Well, I can give it a go.
Yeah, please do. Otto will just sort of stand back and watch how this is done.
Okay.
Okay. Alora is going to step forward. She's going to rap sharply and loudly on the door and sort of bang it with the side of her fist and sort of say, hello? Is there anybody in there? Hello? Hello? This door's stuck. Hello? She's going to thump loudly, and then she's going to step back and wait to see whether anybody comes to the door.
Okay. Give me 1 second to look something up.
Will do.
Okay. And you're banging on the door, are you?
Yeah, I'm banging on the door to try and see if I can grab the attention, assuming that the two people, bearing in mind what Cave said about the layout and the fact that there was sort of some caverns and tunnels and it led through to like a webbed area that nobody could access.
No, that's not what he said.
Without... I'm sorry, I'm just going from memory.
Yes.
Anyway,
so,
there were two people...
So there's a large area, which is where the guards were, and then there was a long, narrow passage which led to another area which was full of webs.
Yes, sorry, that's what I meant.
Right,
It eventually
okay.
leads round to webs. So she's working on the theory that, assuming these people can't get through the webs, then they are in this section somewhere.
Yeah, you'd be right in making that assumption.
So she's just trying to get their attention to make them curious to come back to the door.
Yeah, I mean you can do that. Does a 17 hit your AC?
No.
Okay. As you bang on the door, in between bangs, your hand draws away just in time as the entire surface of the door comes alive with electrical energy. Crackling and snapping as your hand draws away just in time. As you can feel almost like this ozone kind of tang in the air. And I would like everyone to roll initiative, please.
Oh. Okay. I'll roll for Ogvar first in every case.
Okay.
Otto will begin this with a 17 plus 1 for 18.
18.
Ogvar has a 17 plus 6 for a 23. And Alora has an 18 plus 8 for a 26.
26. And then I've got to roll some dice. Give me 1 second. And sorry, I'm just trying to rubble the paper here.
Would Alora have a chance to say something to Otto at this point?
Yeah, I'd say you can say something to Otto.
Considering his two friends were not supposed to be magic users, somebody's been down here because someone's cast something on this door.
No, he said one of them was
It's electric.
He said one of them was a magic user.
Yeah, it's not such a shock.
I thought... Oh, no, he did. Yeah, there was a second magic user, wasn't there? Yeah. Okay. My mistake. Your fault.
Definitely your fault. 1 second. That one is going to be... Sweet, so Laura, top of the round, you're up. You have a door in front of you.
I do have a door in front of me. Now I don't know what I'm going to do with the door. What am I going to do with the door? She's going to prepare a lightning bolt. And she is going to step back from the door as her movement, and she's going to hold that action. She's going to hold the action that when the door opens, if there is someone in line of sight, it is going to cast immediately. at them.
Okay. And that is your turn. So next up is
It is.
Ogvar. What is Ogvar doing?
Probably not thanking Elora for that.
I have a suggestion for Ogvar. He's a clever lad. I'm guessing he would have brought his water skin with him. He could just unscrew the water skin and start pouring it at the base of the door.
Well, I did think that, but I thought it wouldn't. I wasn't sure it would touch the base of the door.
Well, if you go right up to it, it would.
Right. Whose turn is it next? Is it Otto's?
It's... Wait, what do you mean? So what's Ogvar doing?
Oh, sorry, it's Ogvar. Sorry, I didn't catch that. It was Ogvar's turn
This
next.
is why I was
wasn't
suggesting it, yeah.
Yes, it's
Oh,
Ogvar.
sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I said, what's Ogvar doing?
I'm sorry. I was thinking Otto.
God.
Yeah, I think Ogvar would probably try that,
Okay, Ogvar.
seeing as Elora didn't.
So Ogvar's gonna...
So yeah, he's gonna.
Yes, I'll go for it.
Yeah, so he's going to just take the stopper out of his water skin. He's going to gradually pour it under the door so that it rolls in that direction.
Okay. He pours water under the door.
Okay.
What were you hoping to happen?
I don't know. That's why I didn't do it. I wasn't sure whether it would pick up the electricity from the door and transfer it along with the water to see if there was anyone stood the other side.
No, okay,
Oh.
so it's not a constant effect. The door isn't electrified constantly, it was just in that instant it was electrified.
In that case, he's just emptied his water skin.
Well, actually, my thinking on that one was that you've got a lightning bolt ready, right?
Yes, but I've already prepared
She's
it
already
and
prepared
stated
it.
what it's for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's perfect. You haven't cast it yet.
Nope, I haven't.
Therefore, that might help a bit. We'll see.
Okay, so Ogvar does that. He walks up to the door, probably goes hinge side because Ogvar's not stupid, and begins pouring his water skin out, which leaves a relatively large puddle on the floor, which he's half stood in. Okay.
Yeah, I think he'd remove his feet from the water. He wouldn't just stand there with his feet in the water.
Just saying. Okay, so Otto, you're up next.
So I think Otto would, obviously seeing this all being done, is still expecting good things of Elora, who's going to show him how all this is done. So he's just going to do a sort of half bow and extend his hands as if waiting for Elora to show him exactly how this is done. He's just going to delay his turn. He might come back in later.
I have forgotten to get Cave to roll initiative, so Otto, could you roll a d20 for me, please?
I can. There's the one.
God. Well, that's handy because he's going in at the bottom of the round anyways.
Perfect timing. See? The dice are telling the story.
So what I'm going to do, Rick, is I'm going to have you roll all of Cave's stuff this session.
Absolutely fine. No problems at all.
Sweet. Okay. So, Otto, your turn. You've bowed, given the Elora the old hand swish, wave on, go forth.
Hand swish. Yes, let's go with that.
And what happens next is you see, or rather, you don't see, as a white vapour begins to roll out of the cracks in the door, steadily filling the corridor, and let's see, it doesn't have a radius. Huh. That's odd.
How odd.
Okay, so what you're going to see is effectively fog fill the corridor. So I'm looking at the solid fog spell, Rick, and it doesn't actually have a radius, despite it having effects dependent on distance you travel in it.
Okay, 1 second. I shall find the answer. I think it says as per obscuring mist from memory, but it has been a very long since I saw that.
There we go. Functions like a fog cloud. So it's probably in there. Sorry, I didn't read that properly.
Why are you apologising to me? Because I'm going to edit this bit out just to be sure.
I don't know, I'm a DM, I can do no wrong apparently.
Yeah, there you go. So it spreads in a 20-foot radius, 20-foot high.
Okay, sweet. So engulfing the corridor in which you will stand, 20 foot out, the entire corridor fills with this soupy, thick white fog, which obscures everything in sight. None of you can see what is happening an inch in front of your nose. Any creature, so the effects of this, any creature attempting to move through it progresses at a speed of 5 foot, regardless of your normal speed. And you take a -2 penalty on all melee attack and melee damage rolls. Vapours prevent effective ranged weapon attacks, except for magic rays and the like. And that doesn't matter. And you cannot take a 5-foot step in this fog. So you're all effectively very, very slow now. As this spell is clearly cast and conjured, and you cannot see a thing in front of you.
Awesome.
Sweet.
That's quite funny. Can I jump back in with my delay, please?
Yeah, you can do that. Yep.
So I'm just checking on the spell casting time of a spell that I haven't used before, but I've been keeping it for a long time. Probably should have used many times before this. Yeah, that's fine. So I have a 2nd level spell that is kind of exclusive to druids and rangers called Listening Law Call. This is a slightly more unusual spell. Lasts the best part of an hour as I cast it, and it's going to give me a couple of effects. It's going to be +4 insight bonus to my listen checks, which might be useful. But more importantly, if I have 12 more ranks in listen, I also gain blind sight out to 15 feet. I also have blind sense out to 30 feet. So the opportunity to surprise someone. I think I'll just sneak back against the wall and just in case anything wants to come through.
Okay, yeah, sure, that's really cool. So you cast those spells on yourself. You can't see anything, but then gradually your senses tune, your ears kind of almost prick up, and you're able to kind of hear and sense using your other available senses, perhaps drawing on your kind of nose of the dog, ears of the bat kind of vibe, and from your wild shapes, and just pulling those senses down and utilising them while still in your human form.
Perfect.
Sweet. Okay, so we're gonna go for... Oh, shit, that lasted a while. Okay, sweet. So you are then going to hear some banging. As...
I presume that's in the sense of someone hitting the door as opposed to something happening behind closed doors.
Yes, definitely.
Look, you've got me while I'm tired. I'm like this when I'm tired, I'm sorry.
14. Okay. As you hear an almighty banging sound, it is a large kind of clang and a bang. Clearly the impact of something heavy on the door. There's nothing else that would produce this sound. It definitely emanates from in front of you. And you hear a, bang, bang, and then it falls silent again as it is Kaif's turn. Otto, what would you like Kaif to do?
I can imagine Kaif being a little bit nervous with this fog coming out, so I think he'd probably just back away against the wall, keeping his flail ready in case something comes next to him that he doesn't trust.
Sweet. Okay. And that brings us round to the top of the round. Elora, you're up. You can't see a thing. Even your eyes
Right.
not helping.
Alora would know that this is the very end of the corridor that they were in. The corridor doesn't go beyond this door, does it? Or does it?
No, this door. So as Kay fully described it, this door opens up into a set of chambers.
Yeah, so it's right at the end of the corridor. I think instinctively, I think the first thing Alora would probably do is move back out of the range of this fog cloud initially.
Okay.
So she's going to back up by however many feet it takes to clear the edge of the fog cloud to start with.
You can't.
I can't.
You cannot. Moving through this fog is like trying to move through through an oobleck, basically. You can only move 5 foot. I'd say you're probably 5 foot away from the door when this started. You can move back 5 foot, but there's still 10 foot of fog to go.
Okay. Now, this could go badly. Presumably, can we see each other as we're stood within sort of 5 feet of each other?
No, you can't.
Hand in
see
front of face,
anything.
not visible, that sort of thing.
You have no visibility whatsoever. Yep, it is. So, when I said thick fog, I mean it is. You can literally chew on it. It is that thick.
Right. She kind of feels that the only way in this case is forwards, and she was about 5 foot from the door, wasn't she? Because she touched the door where she was. Well, she moved to one side, didn't she, of the door?
Yes, you're about 5 foot from the door. Yes.
So she knows roughly where the door is in front of her, so she could reach and touch the door. She's going to turn briefly, as if casting her voice over to Kaif.
Okay.
How wide is the room either side of the door, Kaif?
Yeah, I mean, I suppose at that point you will get a response back from Kaif. Let me just flip all my books around. He'll shout back to you. Not very wide, goes to about 10 foot for a bit, and then opens up fully. There's a bit of a neck. But if you want to refer back to the map in the Discord channel, in general channel.
Yes, but Alora wouldn't know what's on the other side of the. She wouldn't know how wide the stone wall was either side of the door.
Yep.
Yes, you would, because he drew the map out for you.
Okay.
He literally described you in as much detail as possible, which he drew the map out for you. It is as accurate as you are going to get. So what you can see on the map is what is on the other side of the door.
What is it you're looking to find out? And I might be able to find out for you.
It doesn't matter. I wanted to know whether there's space either side of the door that would lead into the access. Whether I can access the side of beside the door. That's what I'm. But she wouldn't know. She won't know.
No, probably not.
She wouldn't know that. So that was all pointless. Okay, so we'll forget that. I don't know what she'd do at this stage. She's just standing there. I don't think she knows what to do.
Well, from a tactical point of view, if they want to cast all these nice long spells to focus on things, all we need to do is stand back, have a picnic, and wait for the fog to go away. Unless they're going to come in and get us, then we don't really have to worry about two things too much.
No, I don't think she'd really know what to do. She's racking her brains trying to think how she would get out of this. I think.
But there's the error. We don't have to get out of it. They do. We can just play the waiting game.
Yeah, I mean, I think she would just stand there because she's racking her brains and she can't think of anything that she can do to actually dissipate this fog.
What?
She clearly can't move out of it, so...
We will be able to, it's just very slow. So why don't we just take our time, meet up, just call out to each other, make sure we know where we are, make our way back out beyond the this fog, and if they want to come out and say hello to us, they can.
Yeah, I think that's the best thing to do. I think we just back out of this. She was saying quite in a fairly low voice. I think we just back out of this. She's going to start making her way back gradually.
Sure.
So that she can give herself some time to space, and space to think.
Okay. If you're whispering that across, I think Otto will very quietly say, yeah, good idea. I'll stay close to the door and say boo if anyone walks through. Because I can sense them. My senses are a bit more keen than they usually are right now.
Yeah, that's fine. I just need to retreat out of this fog. I can't think straight when I'm stuck in this.
That's it.
Okay.
So she's just going to start retreating by
Yes.
5 foot each time or whatever, and
Yeah, so you can take a 5 foot step back, and it feels like you are trying to move your body through quicksand. It is, you are actually struggling to move your legs back against the weight of this fog. It is that tangible. And it is leaving you covered in like a dewy coating, all of you, as you kind of stand in there, and you just kind of, the water is condensing around you. And it's actually quite unpleasant to breathe in because it's so wet and moist. So, is that the end of your turn, Laura?
yeah, I think so. I think she'd use her whole turn just speaking to the others and then starting to retreat because she feels she's better off actually retreating out of this situation because she's not particularly comfortable with it.
Okay, so next up, Ogvar.
I think seeing as we discussed retreating, if everybody's going back out, I guess I'll follow. So Ogvar also is going to retreat backwards for now.
Yeah, and honestly, Ogvar's only got to take that 1 5 foot step as he pops out of the other side of the fog cloud. Being stood at the back, being a ranger, he's got the longest, obviously, ranged weapon. He'd have been at the back. And he takes that 5 foot step and emerges into free air, and all that Ogvar can see in the passageway is this rough-hewn stone wall, and then just a solid wall of white, as this fog is like hitting an invisible barrier, almost. Sweet. Okay, and Otto, you're up.
I think, order-wise, Otto has to go a little bit later because he delayed. Technically, the other guys go first because he waited until after they did the solid fog.
Yeah, sorry, you're after the sorcerer, aren't you? Okay. So, well, I say sorcerer.
I pretend I didn't hear that.
It's
It's okay.
Spellcaster.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Okay. So, caster of the spells. It's not a concentration spell, so they could cast something else. So that's going to be that one. Let me just see what I need for that, because I don't do spells.
If you let me know, I'll help you out. I don't mind.
So good.
This one's got me properly stumped.
Okay. So 60 foot. Okay, I would like everyone to Okay, no, you don't have to do anything. That's fine.
Okay.
That is all good. I'm running out of fingers to hold pages. Hang on, there we go. Okay, I'm just gonna make a note of that. Right. And Otto, you're up.
Otto's simply going to attempt to take a... He's up against the wall already, so he's just going to slide back a little bit through this soup. Just keeping himself pressed against the wall to allow plenty of space for anything wanting to come past without disturbing it.
Yeah,
He's going to just reach out with his senses and just feel if that door opens or if anything comes through it.
Yeah. You basically bump into Kaif. You basically end up sharing a space as he's kind of stood there with his back against the wall. And you're both kind of 5 foot away from exiting this fog cloud, you'd say, knowing from like where your position was previously. You're not far away.
I shall just encourage him quite strongly to get the hell out of my way.
Excellent. Okay, so from the direction of the door, you hear yet another pair of loud clangs with a... Yep, that'll do it. And that's not going to do it. And a... Sweet, that's good. You hear 2 more massive clangs, clearly something striking the door. You also hear the sound of grinding stone and splintering wood, as clearly some damage is being done to this door in front of you, as clearly someone is trying to break their way out. Okay, so next up is Kaif, who you've encouraged to move backwards. I'm assuming he will do so.
Yeah, I think it'd be better if you would go back behind Ogvar if possible.
Yeah, he's only got a 5 foot movement due to the cloud, so he will take that 5 foot step back and emerge next to Ogvar, again unable to see through this thick bank of fog in front of him. Okay, so top of the round, Elora.
Yeah, Laura's still in this fog, so because I think she was the furthest most forward.
Yep.
So she's going to continue to retreat, listening to the sound of her companions' whispered voices behind her. I think when Ogvar stepped out, he would have said, "Oh, I'm out."
Yeah. Okay.
He certainly would have indicated that, and she'll just retreat back further. She's going to continue to retreat.
Okay. Sweet. So you retreat back further, and that's the end of your turn. Ogvar stood behind out of the fog. Is he just going to kind of prep? Stand there. What's he doing?
Makes sense for him to have a little
I think
bit
he
of
would
space.
definitely have an arrow knocked, and I think he would take a further step back so that he's got a little bit of distance between himself and the fog wall.
Yeah. Perfect. Yep.
So maybe another 10 foot back, so he's got some room to take aim properly.
Yeah, sweet. You can... Yeah, Ogvar can do that, definitely. Cool, so that's the end of his turn. Just a check up on this spell. Can I please have intelligence scores from everyone, please?
Intelligence scores.
Intelligence.
Yes, your intelligence scores. Not your modifier, just your score.
16 from Otto.
Okay. Ogvar is an 11 and Elora is a 12.
Okay. Okay, yeah, cool. That's good. Thank you, everyone. Let's just check on that again.
You sound entirely too happy, Yaz.
Okay.
Elora's ideas of what she was going to do have gone right out the window, in case you hadn't noticed.
No, never. I hadn't noticed at all. Okay, Otto.
I had a plan and everything.
Otto, you're up again. You taking that final 5 foot step back out of the fog?
No, he's just to stay in the fog. I think that's the better place to do. He'll just sort of whisper, "Has anyone got any caltrops or marbles?" That could be funny. And then he will ready an action that if an enemy were to end up next to him, he will transform into the shape of a very big and very hungry bear.
Oh, okay. Excellent. So, next up, you are going to hear again clanging sounds. Bang with a natural 20. And a 18, that'll do it. 2 more hits. I don't need to roll for that because I know it's going to work. As you hear one bang, as you hear some squeaking and the sound of rendering metal, then you hear a final smashing bang and the sound of something shattering. As you can all tell, this door has been broken through, and by the sounds of it, by something very strong. Okay, and Cave, what is Cave doing?
I think Kate will just move back to stand in front of Ogvar, flail at the ready, to hit anything that comes next to him, any enemy that comes next to him.
Sweet. Okay, end of the round. Top of the round, Elora, you're up. You've just heard this sound emanating from about 15 foot in front of you.
Yeah, she knows that she needs to retreat out this fog cloud. She knows the others have gone behind her. So she's also heard what Otto has said. I'm assuming that she's drawing close to where Otto is stood, flattened against the wall of the mine or the corridor. So she's going to take a 5-foot step back, and I'm assuming that she's going to be somewhere around where Otto is.
No, taking that 5-foot step back out, you'll be out of the cloud.
So is Otto, does she know if Otto's next to her?
No, I mean, you don't. You can't see him. You only kind of know roughly where he would have been. But he's moved since then, and you'd know that.
Right. Okay, she's going to... in that case, she's going to step back. Does that now put her out of the fog cloud?
It does indeed.
Okay, right. She's back out of the fog cloud, and she will continue to move backwards to stand next to Ogvar. So she's around about 15 foot...
nope, you can't.
About 15...
Your entire movement is spent taking that 5-foot movement out of the fog cloud.
Okay, in that case, she would take that 5-foot movement to get out of the cloud.
Okay, sweet. You're outside of the cloud. There's a little bit of a gap between you and the cloud now, but you're out of there, and you can feel almost like a weight off your lungs and your shoulders as this oppressive fog is no longer kind of coiling around you and kind of almost feeling like it's restraining you. You're now free of it. Sweet. Okay, so next up is Ogvar, who is still primed and ready to go.
Would Ogvar have heard what Otto said?
Whispering? We'll say yeah. We'll say yeah for the purposes of this.
Okay. Bear with. I need to look through his inventory. Because he did have... I don't think he's got them anymore.
Okay.
He hasn't got them anymore. Yeah, no, Ogvar used to have some marbles, but they went. And he didn't replace them.
They went out, so they went at the manor.
They did go at the manor, yes, and he never replaced them.
Marvellous.
Yeah, I think everybody would just be poised and waiting. I think, actually, Ogvar would know that everybody is now... Well, he doesn't know where Otto is.
Nope.
Okay. Otto, are you against a wall?
I'm where I need to be. Do what you need to do.
Right, Ogvar is going to loose an arrow. Blind.
Okay.
He's going to loose an arrow through the fog in the direction where he knows the door is. It will be dead ahead of him, basically.
Okie dokie, so he's going to loose an arrow. So what is going to happen, so he's not going to be affected by the spell effects because he's not stood within the spell, that's fine. But there is full concealment, so there will be a mischance. So, concealment. So, 20% chance of the attack will miss. Roll to hit for me, please. And Rick, can you pick me a percentile increment? 20% percentile increment, sorry.
Yeah, certainly. 1 to 20.
1 to 20. That is unfortunate.
I'm going to get pin-cushioned, aren't I?
Nope, you're fine.
Roll to hit. Roll to hit.
So
what am I rolling? Just
with a long bow attack. Or short bow, whichever bow it's got.
I'm looking at that. Oh, is that... Am I picking up on the attack bonus here? I don't... What am I actually... I'm rolling a d20, but what am I adding to it?
His attack bonus.
Oh, right. Yeah, he's just going to loose the 1. He's not going to go for full round attack. He's just going to loose the 1.
Okay, so it'll be plus 12.
Right, so it's 12 plus a 15.
Oh,
just to confirm, Yaz, if it's total concealment, it would be a 50% mischance, not 20%.
Yeah, I did think it said that, but it was
yeah.
Okay, look, pick me high or low then, Rick.
We're gonna go for high.
Okay. And high is good. It is not high. Okay, so even with that stunning 27 to hit.
Yeah, it's 27 to hit. Yeah, 15
Ogvar.
plus 12. Well, 12 plus 15.
20. Yeah. So with 27 to hit from Ogvar, he fires off this arrow, and it is a beautiful shot as always. However, with the fog blurring things, and although it's clearly pure white fog, it does twist and twirl of itself, and you end up seeing shadows and kind of half-formed things which are just kind of lurking in the corners of your vision. And it appears with that distraction and just not being able to see his target clearly, the arrow whizzes through. There's no yelp of pain, and there's just like a clattering sound afterwards. Clearly his arrow has missed, and that was a 48 on the die, so just low, unfortunately.
Okay.
Okie dokie. Yeah, I think... I didn't hear anything. I think that might have missed.
A fair assessment from Ogvar. Okay.
There is no screaming.
Also a fair assessment. Okay, so I would then like everybody to please make me a will save, please.
Oh, a will save.
And that is going to be... the save DC for magic users is 10 plus. Is it 10 plus level? Class level, Rick?
Okay, so it's been a while. I believe
Sorry,
we'll
I've got really
find.
shit sheets here.
What is this against? Is this against magic? Is it or?
No,
I think you'll
it's
find
just a spell save DC.
10 plus their spellcasting mod plus the level of the spell.
Sweet, perfect, thank you.
I have a 9 on the dice for Otto, plus 11 for 20.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, 10 plus. Yes, 10 plus spell level plus casting mod. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Hooray! I remembered.
Thank you both.
Yeah.
Okay, and Rick, could you please make me another roll for Kaif?
Good luck, Kaif. Who rolls a 17?
Plus a 1 for an 18. Okay.
Hooray!
Elora, Ogvar.
Ogvar was an 11 all in. Elora was a 13 all in.
Okay, so the only one of you who succeeds is Otto.
Oh.
And what you then hear from inside the room is a male voice. I've got them. Apart from the one, I think. But I can see their thoughts. They're all back out of the edge of the fog. Get him. As Otto, you feel the effects of detect thoughts try and slip through your mental barriers, and you're able to, with a 20, just about stop it. It's a struggle, you're not expecting it, and you're able to just about stop it as you feel the kind of sliminess of the almost like a mental probe trying to invade your brain. You're able to bat it away, but clearly your companions haven't been so lucky, and their surface thoughts have clearly been read, and their positions garnered from that.
It had been time to put the squeeze on their new acquaintance. To this end, Kaif had seemed happy to jump ship, and having ratted out his seemingly now former employers, was apparently embracing the rather raw choices Elora had eloquently laid before him. Proofing themselves with various protections, they set out with the sole purpose of finally dealing with whatever was behind that door. Finding that it had been forced a little but not breached led to a spot of cold calling, announcing their arrival, which hopefully would flush out their foes. However, a frustrating fog filled the space. Ogvar was forced to retreat to clearer climes. A huge din could be heard as the door was definitely being destroyed, and as our ranger reached clear air, he took to his bow for a potluck pot shot into the unknown. Join us again next week, dear friends, for episode 181. Hey, you made it this far, so lend us your ears for a moment longer if you will. Firstly, we are most humbled that you are enjoying our yarn, and the crew thank you from the bottom of their hearts for your patronage. Producing this podcast is incredibly hard work, and as such, if you would like to support us, there are a few ways in which you could really make a difference. Sharing links to friends and family helps to spread the word so others like you can find us, and in turn they too can enjoy the show. Equally helpful is leaving a 5-star review on Spotify and any other streaming services, which will help us immensely. Or, if you feel you could go that extra mile and contribute a few coppers to keep our creative juices flowing, you can hop on over to our Buy Me a Coffee page or drop us an email. We would all be immensely grateful for your support in any form. Lastly, we invite you to visit our website, where you will find information on our campaign from backstories to settings. Join our Facebook group or follow us on Twitter. All the links are in our episode bios. Don't forget to smash the subscribe and download buttons so you never miss the next episode. See you all again next week, folks.